Over 40 years ago, Congress decided that there were some people that shouldn't be allowed to buy guns. And that was hotly debated at the time, and they decided that groups of people, such as felons, such as those who were dangerously mentally ill, people who had been dishonorably discharged, people who weren't citizens, shouldn't be allowed to buy guns. But it took us another set of years until 1993 to realize, just as the other side often says, that criminals don't follow the law. And so relying on criminals or people who are dangerously mentally ill to admit that they shouldn't be able to buy a gun didn't work. And in 1993, Congress passed the Brady bill. And the Brady bill said that rather than rely on the honesty of criminals and the dangerously mentally ill, we would do a background check to see if they had a record. That system has worked very well. It stopped 1.6 million people from buying guns since the Brady bill went into effect. But there's some loopholes in the Brady bill. One of those loopholes is the fact that states aren't required to send their records in. That's one of the things that led to the tragedy of Virginia Tech that we'll hear about in just a second. The Virginia Tech killer's name should have been in the Brady background check system, but Virginia had not sent the name in. So he was allowed to buy a gun. The other major loophole is the fact that unlicensed so-called private sellers, unlicensed sellers, don't have to do a background check either. And the main place where these unlicensed sellers sell their goods are gun shows. Think about it. It's a perfect business model. They don't need a place of business. They don't have a storefront. They go from gun show to gun show to gun show. The gun show promoter provides the venue, does the advertising, and provides the clientele for them to sell guns. And because they aren't required to do a background check, felons and other dangerous people get guns. A real dealer, a federally licensed dealer in Texas, was recently quoted as saying that he'd been at a gun show in Texas, and people that he had turned down because they didn't pass the background check, he would see walking out of the gun shows carrying guns. It shows why we need to require background checks. This does nothing to hurt legitimate gun owners. The legitimate gun owner will pass the background check. This does nothing to hurt legitimate gun sellers. They already do background checks if they're a federally licensed dealer. This just says that we don't want to make it so easy for dangerous people to get guns that the unlicensed sellers need to do background checks too. In effect, it's stressing the word responsibility. We talk so much about gun rights in this country. There are responsibilities, and those are responsibilities on the part of the sellers of guns to try to make it harder for dangerous people to get guns. That's what this bill will deal with. It's a bill that makes sense. It's a bill that should be acted on quickly.